Welcome back to Unpaid Movie Critics. Woo to the who. I'm here with the illustrious, the daffy, the darling, the woman who composes a new theme song for herself every morning that is reminiscent of a 1980s cartoon, Miss Becky Fixel.
Okay, and Mr. Semets, I do not know what you have in your mug over there every week. It makes me wonder with these intros. And I just want to check with you. Do we have any updates on your screen or your, oh my gosh, can't even think of words. I write for a living. Your script. There we go.
Well, I mean, the scripts are all done. We're just still in the pitch phase.
So
a few people, it went out to a few people today, actually. So
good. Do you have a link that we can put somewhere where people can purchase items that might help fund having the movie made? Or are they?
Yes, there is a site, Becky. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. It's delightful and fun. I will share that later.
Oh, okay. So you will provide me that so I can put it in the show notes and on the website. So it's not just MikeTheFanboy.com?
Well, that's a website name, but I don't have there is a link on there to like some eBay stuff, but I'm going to do some Facebook stuff too and kind of start sharing some more stuff just to kind of get some more funding going. We do have some partial funding for the film, but it's not going to dent the budget. So.
Okay, well, but still any little bit helps, and getting a little more space out of your storage area may make it so other items can come in, especially near the holidays.
When you have like 3,000 things that are just posters or 11 by 14s and 12 by 18s, not including Funko Pop's albums, counter stands, props, frames, hoverboards.
And yet you want more
stuff. We have a lot of
shit.
Yes, I love more stuff.
Okay.
I love more stuff.
Well, all right. So you will make sure that we have an active link and maybe a way that they can purchase things from you on Facebook. If anybody wants autographed things.
Hey, if anyone's looking for anything specific too, they can always hit me up at MikeTheFanboy.com because I might have something.
Awesome. So this week, Mike made the decision, last week he made the decision that we were going to discuss movies that we watch and can watch over and over and over again. So
like your warm, your hot chocolate movies, like the movies that make you, if you're having a bad day, you can watch them. It's just like one of those things and they can put you in a better place.
Yeah, so not like Requiem for a Dream that you have to be at the top of your game to watch because it will depress you no matter what.
100%, and I don't think I could ever watch that movie again, but I really liked it.
I really liked it too, but again, it's been years because you really have to be in the right mind space for that. So
yeah, it's a tough one.
It is very much. So this is our happy movies, and let's start with yours, which is...
Let's start with yours. Why don't we start with yours? Because we always start with mine.
All right, so we're going to start with mine, which was 2010's Easy A, which I watched it again and I crack up through the whole movie. And part of it is her depiction, we know she's too old for high school there, but, it's her depiction of kind of, she's not an outcast, but she's not the popular girl. She's just the girl getting by and suddenly becomes the center of attention. And she has crazy ass parents, which the parents, I'm sorry, they could not have cast. I mean, they're hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I think Emma Stone in general is awesome in this movie. Yes. It really definitely, I think it was her first movie that people really saw her pop, role wise. I mean, she was able to shine in a very likable and a very
relatable.
She was very relatable. She was just fun. She wasn't, and she can pull off. And this was something we talked about when we were discussing Carrie, the remake of Carrie, that Chloe Grace Moretz couldn't pull off the outcast of Carrie. But Emma Stone, as gorgeous as she did pull it off as the outsider.
Right.
In Easy A. Sorry, my phone keeps ringing for some reason.
Because you're an important screenwriter. So
important.
So important. So yeah, it's just for me, it's always that kind of feel good movie. Although this time I did have a slightly different experience with one part of it. When Penn Badgley picked her up at the restaurant and took her home.
Mhm.
So I just finished watching the last season of You. And then I'm just like, yeah, he's nice now, but he's going to kill you. Just don't get in the car, because he does that role so well. And I love that show. And I don't know why I've watched this movie so many times. And that's just never clicked over the past few years that that's him. And I was just like,
That's
oh,
funny.
yeah, I was like, oh, I still love the movie, but it just kind of made me laugh.
Well, I haven't seen You yet, so I didn't have that experience.
You need to see You. Do you
I
not
hear
like
it's really good. Yeah, I hear it's really good.
it reminds me, and it's, I mean, not exactly, obviously, but it reminds me sort of like Dexter. He's got the
Right.
narration and he's got the urges and all of that, but it's the stalker thing. The first season, for a lot of women, they have issues
Mhm.
because a lot of us have dealt with really creepy, weird dudes.
Yeah.
So there's that, but then it's just so damn good. So, you know,
There you go.
yeah. So
I think Easy A is one of those fun movies. I think it got a little, I mean, people found it when it was first released, but then I think it's one of those movies that people find later as well. Like, when it's on cable and it's there, and it's a great little supporting cast. You had Cam Giganti. He was kind of fun. I mean, way too old for high school. I'm like, oh boy,
well, they all kind of
come on
are.
now.
Let's be real. It didn't feel as weird as like Grease, where yeah, they look 30 and they're in high school.
Yeah.
They looked younger, but they were still all too old for high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, but Lisa Kudrow was really fun. Thomas Hayden Church. It was a great little ensemble.
it really
And it
is.
was a cute movie, and it was a great play on the classic Scarlet Letter
Yep.
where she did that. I thought that it was really well written. I really felt like it's one of those teen movies that you can watch any time in your life and you really kind of still
Right.
relate to it. And
And
that's rare. I mean, it's rare when it clicks like that and it pops, and I think that's really important and fun.
well, and it kind of reminded me too, because I mean, there's a lot of the references to the John Hughes movies, and it's
Hmm.
kind of like one for that generation, which is, a little after ours, but it kind of had those feelings, even though we're not in Shermer, Illinois. So,
Right.
although we always laugh at the end credits because that is the longest kind of drive down, a street on a lawnmower. Nobody's going to ride a lawnmower that long, you know. So it just, it's silly things, but it's a teen movie, so it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fluff.
Well, I mean, no, there's something to say, and that's again the topic of this week is that those fun movies that are fluff that you can watch, and it just puts you in a place.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, is a movie like this when we call it fluff, quote unquote, because it's not like Requiem for a Dream and meaningful, but how powerful is it? And to think about this, how powerful is it to have a movie like this? If you're in a bad place or having a crap day, you can put it on and it changes your mood. And even if it's like 12%,
Right.
that's really powerful.
It is.
And it's
That's why it's
harder
an
to
art.
go, yeah, it's harder to go from sad to happy. Happy to sad is easy.
Right.
Tragedy can occur at any moment in our life. You can make someone bummed, but to make someone happy is really difficult.
It is.
And so, I mean, I know it's easy to dismiss a movie and call these like fluff, but I don't think that's right
But
in
no, I
some
mean,
level.
I'm not saying fluff is a bad thing though, because we all need,
No, no, no.
and we need to have these movies that we can watch over and over and over that turn off our brains, and we don't have to worry and focus on the shitstorm that is a pandemic around us. You know,
Right.
it's nice to have that little escapism, and that's kind of what movies in general provide. But ones that you can actually turn on and make you happy, and or just change how things are in your day, or tune out what's going on, is perfect.
Yeah, and it's really nice. I mean, that in and of itself, right?
Hmm.
To just have those moments and to sit there with someone like Emma Stone for, an hour and 45 minutes, going through this little journey that for her is life and death, but in reality, like, okay, you're gonna get over it later on, honey.
Yeah, because we all
But
know high school's just meh later anyhow.
yeah, I mean, it's just reality. So uh it's kind of one of those things. It's just such a fun moment in time, and it's a fun minute to watch these kind of little movies. And I think there's a lot of them out there, but there's not a lot of them that are successful.
Right. And I think to me too, like this one is one that I like because it reminds me almost like 10 Things I Hate About You. It's this
Hmm.
updated version of these classical stories,
Right.
and or even Clueless if we go, Emma and all of
Yeah,
that.
she's Emma.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which it's this kind of updated one. And both of those movies are ones that I could watch all the time too. They have a good story base and
Right.
they just update it and make it fun.
Absolutely. And I think this one was kind of, I wasn't, when I remember seeing it for the first time, I wasn't really sure. I was like, Scarlet Letter. I mean, that's how to, that was kind of that's like going, hey, you know what we should do? Let's do the Crucible, you know,
Thank God that
but
hasn't happened, but watch, that'll be released next year again. So
yeah, I mean, like, and let's do it with kids. And, you know, they're going to kill the witches. It's like, one of those things, but it's, it's kind of one of those fun, fun surprises.
right.
Like I wasn't expecting much, and then here it was, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought, like again, when you have an ensemble, it was Emma Stone's movie,
Oh,
pure and
absolutely.
simple. But and this was Allison Janney. This is before when she before she got these quirky little roles she
Right.
started doing. This is the first one that kind of popped her out. She was in West Wing, and she was very kind of, that role wasn't the crazy mom. But then she
No.
started. Then she did 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yep.
She or reverse. I'm sorry. She had 10 Things I Hate About You than Easy A, but Easy A really gave her that. Um,
Right.
um,
And like I said, the
when she did I Tanya, and
oh,
then after that she did I
I never
Tanya,
saw that
and
one.
oh, you have to see I Tanya. It was so well done. It was Margot Robbie's best acting role, I think, to date.
Really?
She's so good in it.
I'll add it to my
During
running list
award
I need to
season,
watch.
yeah, during award season, I think I saw that like 3 times.
Oh,
It
really?
was it was one of my favorite movies of that season. Yeah,
So
yeah, she's great in it.
talk to me a little bit about award season out there because I'm starting to get the things here for screening.
Hmm.
And
Well, because you're a member of what again? The
the
Detroit
Detroit
Film
Film
Critics
Critics Society.
Association.
Society. So with that, they send to the kits and I get a lot of emails for your consideration stuff, all of that stuff.
Hmm.
How is it different out there, like from your perspective? Because you're part of these things. You have actually in-person screenings, I'm guessing, for most compared to what we have.
Yeah, we have a lot. It's crazy. Like I thought this season with the pandemic just kind of popping, is it there? Is it gone? No one really knows. Um, but yeah, we have a lot. Even this weekend, we have screenings with like the cast of Belfast and the cast of that new Benedict Cumberbatch movie. And
The
there was a
Power of the
couple of
Dog.
things. Yeah, there was the House of Gucci was Monday or
Okay.
Tuesday with the whole cast with Gaga and Jared Leto and Ridley Scott. I decided not to go. Um, I know it's funny because it's like this. I talked to my friend. I'm like, do we want to go? Do I not want to go? And not to sound like, him and Ha, but it's like, how many people would chop their finger off
And you've been
to be in
waiting
a
for a
room with
year
Jared
and a
Leto, Ridley
half.
Scott, Jared Leto.
You've been waiting for a year and a half for these shows to, or these events to come back. And now you're just kind of like, and skip. So,
Well, a lot of it has to do with venues and like, is there going to be access? Can you
yeah.
meet people? Um, and is it just want to see the movie? Because I was like, I kind of wanted to see House of Gucci. I kind of wanted to see what people thought of it first because I think it can go either way.
Right. That's one I haven't seen
Um,
yet. It should be coming soon on my list, I'm guessing.
I'm assuming, yeah. And I, I don't know. I just kind of was like, I don't think this venue is going to be good. And I was right. And we made the right choice. So I'm not sad about missing it. But at the same time, it's still a lot of effort. People, when you say that, you still have to drive across town in traffic, find parking,
Hmm.
stand in line for an hour and a half, 2 hours, get a seat. Then you're sitting in the theater with all these people. And am I going to maybe have to wear a mask the entire time? And
Yep.
as far as I still agree with masks, don't get me wrong. I just don't like wearing them. And
And
it's really hard to focus on a movie when you have to wear a mask the whole time.
well, see, and I'm not having so much a problem with that. It's the most of the movies coming out are 2.5 hours, 2:45,
Right.
2:50, and we have a ton coming out because pandemic held a lot of them back. And now they're
Hmm.
trying to pile them all on, plus the ones that were originally supposed to come out this year, all at the
Right.
same time. So it's, which I kind of understand, they want to get them off the shelves and in theaters, but that's going to make the awards even harder when there's even more to choose from than usual.
Yeah, and and this season is already front runners. Nothing I'm like dying to see, frankly.
Right.
Um, so it's kind of tough. It's like, well, I'll go, but
And it's funny,
and
there.
and also the problem with I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The
Oh,
problem
that's
with FYC season two is these movies tend to be really heavy,
mm-hmm.
and it's not like there's not these candy films where it put you in a better place. They're fucking bummers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh,
And I mean,
it's
and
like,
the problem is too, is like one of the links I got has 30 movies in it.
right,
Okay, so if I watch one of those a day and say 10 studios send me one of those links with 30 movies in it, when do I sleep plus go to the theater plus run my site plus 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 plus? Oh, and the
right.
holidays.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things, and I don't know. It's interesting, especially being this far away from Los Angeles, you know,
Yeah.
how we're doing it. I mean, like the first things are starting to arrive like in the last week or so, but I'm just we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I RSVP'd for a screening of a movie called Mass,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, that looks like fun. It had people I love. I love Ann Dowd. I think she's amazing in Handmaid's Tale. Martha Plimpton, I've really enjoyed. She was great in Raising Hope, and obviously The Goonies and Parenthood. I'm like, ooh, and then Jason Isaacs was in it. I was like, I love this cast.
Right.
Such a fun thing. Oh, this would be really great. And then I read it, and it's about a mass shooting
Oh
and the
no.
tragedy that occurs. And I was like, out,
No. And
can't do it.
there was a list that somebody shared on somebody else's page on Facebook, and it was the top movies of the year from Rotten Tomatoes, and it's being
Right.
updated, you know, and I'm going through it and I'm seeing 3, 4 movies a week in a theater right now, plus what I'm watching at home. I was like, I've only seen 20 of these, and I was like, well into 200 movies. And I was like,
Yeah.
there is no way to process all of these. It's
Mhm.
interesting. And granted, that is more, it's partially calculated from, web reviews and whatever, but partially from people who actually went and saw the movie, which
Yeah.
is great, which is going to vary a lot when it comes to award season.
Hmm.
But I was going through and I'm like, I haven't even heard of most of these.
Yeah. It's
So
it's wild, and you're kind of like going, this is a lot to process.
it is a lot to process. And then like this week, even today, I didn't turn the TV on. I didn't watch any screeners today. I've got like another cartoon or something I need to screen for Disney. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, my eyes need a break. It's all this information coming in constantly.
And it's just starting, if you
I
really think
know.
about it,
I
because and they then push the Oscars back again this year. So I think it's March now
right.
is when the Oscars are there. So you're gonna get, it's gonna be bombarded up until at least I think probably beginning of March, end of February, where usually is earlier than that, as far as I know.
Which I know, like, we have couple screening days coming up, and then we have to vote later. But I don't know if they're adjusting that due to the new schedule or not, because as of right now, it's at the end of the month.
Hmm.
But then if
That's
everything's pushed out, you know, I don't know.
yeah.
So I mean, it's just interesting overall.
Yeah, it's a fun season. I mean, honestly, we get two waves. We get the film season, which is now.
Yep.
Film season sort of overlaps with TV season because for SAG and some other voting, TV and movies are at the same time. And then there's being the TV Academy, there's TV Academy season, and then there's like 2 months of just like event after event after event of all these people trying to get you to watch their shows. And then that voting, I think, is June.
Okay.
So it's like there's 2 heavy months there's 2 heavy months of TV shows, just constant. So it's a lot to
It
process,
is. And I
you
mean,
know?
like I said, too, these movies coming out and they're all 2 hours and a half, 2:45. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm working on training my bladder to last that long again. But,
Right.
you know,
Well, and we just did they just had a Handmaid's Tale event here with 4 members of the cast. And I know that's a heavy show,
mhm,
but I still love that show. I love that show quite a bit. I think
we're
it's one of the
behind
best
several
ensembles.
seasons. I know.
It's really well done. Elizabeth Moss is a national treasure. That's all I'm saying. And it was for supporting members of the cast, but I was like, oh, that's fun to go to,
Yeah.
and so some of us went, and it was a fun night, and so that was one of the TV ones we've been doing, and then film I haven't really done too many yet. I kind of want to see how the whole thing plays out and what the restrictions are, and you
Right.
know it's tough because I don't want to sit, it's like you're standing in line with people, and it's a lot of people, and then you go into a theater and that'll be still a lot of people, and I'm not comfortable wearing the mask the whole time, even
Right.
though I have my respect mask that someone sent me in the mail.
You should have more than one.
um I have more than one. I've used them, but it's a thing, and it's like I want to be comfortable in the movies. And when I see a
Oh,
movie, for me personally, I like to have a film or a movie theater escapism,
right.
and
Wearing a mask kind of takes you out of it.
it takes out of it, and so it makes the whole experience, it makes the whole experience more of a trudge than something fun to do.
Now, some of my screenings I go to, one of the studios makes us get or take a COVID test before each one within 48 hours.
Oh,
So one of these, this is for next week. I have 3 more coming.
you do it yourself? Like,
Yeah,
is it really? I never did the test.
you do it yourself. You swab it yourself, which is much better than before I had surgery last year and the lady scraped the back of my eye. God, that was horrible. But nobody can go in that screening unless they have passed a test within 48 hours. So
So do you bring the test with you?
it gives you a digital readout and it has a code. And the digital readout you take a shot of and you email it to them, and then you take the code and it uploads the information to the portal. So they have all of your information, the last date you were tested, the results, and all of that. So
Oh,
there's a little bit of peace of mind there, because I know anybody in that theater with me, which is just, other local critics,
right.
has, they're negative within the last 48 hours. Granted, this is just a screenshot in time. You could leave the house and go get exposed. But there's at least that peace of mind and you feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
But there's no way that these theaters are going to start requiring testing for that, to go in and see
No, it's
regular.
impossible.
You can't. I mean, some concerts and other venues are trying it. I got invited on it was painful to turn down an all expense cruise,
Wow, look at you,
right?
fancy
Which
pants.
fantastic, except you're not required to be vaccinated. You just had to have a negative test by the time you board.
Oh,
So, and my thing is, cruises were already, vectors to viruses before COVID. And I really don't want to
yeah,
be trapped on a ship with strangers for who knows how long.
right.
So, it's this weird comfortability level. And I'd have to fly there, either out of LA or out of Florida.
Oh,
And,
well,
and either, I mean, Florida's only like a 2-hour flight. It's not as bad, but it's close.
right. Well,
So,
yeah.
so
You can go to the swamp or California. I mean,
well, I mean, I like Florida to visit, but we also know that they're not very
COVID safe.
yeah, that's the nicest way to put it. Yes. I was trying to think of a nice
Mhm.
way to say that. And my friends that are there are, but what the media portrays, at least, that,
And who knows what the media, I always have my issues with what media says and what's actual true for anything.
right.
Um,
Sorry, there was a weird noise in
but
the corner.
oh,
Plants are
maybe
losing
it's
leaves.
maybe it's the ghost of Florida.
It could be. It very well could be. So, I mean,
But
not
yeah, it's interesting. It really is interesting. Maybe that was Joe Biden's poll ratings going down
Wah,
as we speak.
wah. Well, I mean, he's president. Nobody really likes the president. So
No, actually, his poll went up 4 points. I shouldn't say that. I just was like, that was an easy joke.
but yeah.
You know, it's a thing. It's so true. It's like, where are we at in life where, you know, are we shut down? We're not shut down. It's fending for yourself. There's no more, you know, pandemic assistance for anybody, but things aren't really open.
But the colleges
But
in
they
your
are open.
area, I have a friend who's an animation student in your area, and the college dropped any student not vaccinated out of in-person classes. She is one of 3 students left in her class.
Really?
Yes. And she's like, I love you, California. I love you, Los Angeles. And I was like, okay. I mean, if you're not vaccinated, go online. So
Yeah, I mean, they can go online. That is a thing. I mean, they didn't drop them from the college, right?
I don't know. She said they were dropped from the classes. So I don't know, and I don't know which college it is or anything, but she said she's one of 3 left. But being an animation student and having that much one-on-one time with somebody who's potentially in the industry, because it's right there.
Oh yeah.
That's just amazing. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I do feel, but I don't
know.
know.
I know. It's bad.
I don't know if it's right that, because there's so many reasons, right, why people wouldn't get it. I mean, you know, the media portrays people that don't have the vaccine as crazy people. Are they crazy? I think
yes.
Some, yes. Some,
Not
you know,
all.
it's like, we're going to, the people that won't wear a mask at Costco. It's like, get their fucking, stop being a child and just do it.
Just get Instacart, because you can show up at your freaking door and not have to talk to people.
Yeah, it's really insane. But I don't know how far it should go, and I don't know how far it should. I don't know. I just don't know.
I know.
I struggle with it a little bit, because I'm like, is this right or wrong? And should we force it? And because, it's still one of those things. I mean, how many times in history, look at Canada with the thalidomide issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't, I mean, I remember being prescribed an allergy pill, and then, I was terrible at taking it, because I just was terrible at taking it. And then kind of thank God, because it was proven to cause cancer a couple years layer. And my doctor was like, well, don't take that anymore. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Right.
People.
Yeah, I know. And there was a antacid or something that was causing issues. I want to say in the last 5 or 10 years too. So, I mean, it's this really weird thing. And being in the Midwest, I mean, it's 30-degree nights right now. People are going inside. People are, I mean, I don't know if you saw, I mean, obviously it's your market, saw the MSU and U of M game outside last weekend. No. Everybody was packed shoulder to shoulder, maskless.
Yeah.
But they're outside. But I mean, sure, there's vaccinated people in there too. So, but that type of situation, I don't know, like movie theaters with small amounts of people, I'm okay with at this point. Going back to Broadway shows and those packed theaters, I don't know yet. I'm not there yet, I don't think. So it's this weird finding what's comfortable for you, but who knows after this fall and winter in the Midwest, what it's going to look like number wise here.
Yeah. 100%. And it's like, I keep going, I'm going to cancel my gym membership, because I haven't been back to the gym yet. I have my free weights in the basement that I use.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to wear a mask, because here we have to wear masks.
At the gym? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, do I want to wear a mask inside? Do I want to sweat? People are like huffing and puffing and grunting and groaning, and
and that was one of mine. Like, I had signed up for a gym membership in January of 2020, and I was going 3 times a week. And then, of course, March happened. And then my gym went against the executive orders and opened early. So then I was like, all right, I'm in a contract for a year. And then they continued to charge me, but I ended up canceling it. But then they were like, come on, come back. And I'm like, why would I feel safe there if you already proved to me that you don't give
You're not going to enforce this?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, no. So I've got equipment downstairs now. Something to do. It's
Yeah, it's like I have my routine, and it's a pretty intense routine, and you can do a lot with free weights and push-ups and sit-ups, and you know I feel like it's worked really well, and I'm like I would like to get back and use some of the machines and really like you know get back into it, but at the same time I'm just not sure I'm ready yet.
yep, that's
you
the
know
thing. It's this weird, and I have my introverted moments. In general, I'm an extrovert, I would say at least. And I'm finding more and more, I'm like, no, no, I'm not going. Just not happening.
yeah,
Like I said, the movies, it's a small amount of people. I'm okay. But if it comes to like another reason to get the holiday shopping done, I'm not going in a freaking mall. Oh my God.
right.
Oh my God, I'm not dealing with that many people. So I can't do it. It's like, all right, let's maintain our anxiety level, keep it lower. But I don't know. And I don't know what this effect is going to be on like these movies coming out. Like, have any of them gotten super huge box office numbers yet?
I think Eternals was doing pretty well already for the midnight showings. I mean, No Time to Die did well.
But that's Bond.
Venom did decent.
That's always going to do well.
Yeah, I
So,
think it's still a band. I think it's still the big blockbusters people are going out to see. I think it's the small films that people are like, well, I can wait till gets home.
right.
And
Which,
I understand that.
yes. But then again, back to awards, they have to have so many days or whatever in theaters in order to be considered.
Yeah.
So I understand them opening in theaters. And, and some of the ones like that are coming on Netflix that they purchased that are also getting theater openings.
hmm
I find that an interesting model too, because, these people like, are they trying to break the streaming ones into the awards or,
Well, well, when it comes to that, it is interesting because there's still somewhat of a backlash against non-theatrical films. I don't think it's as prevalent as people want to make it out to be. Like,
Mhm.
Casey Affleck won for Manchester by the Sea. That was, I think, the first big Amazon Oscar win. And that Netflix got in with Mudbound, Mary J. Blige got a nomination, Roma, obviously, it won and won Best Director. So I mean, they're getting in there, but Roma was definitely in theaters,
Right.
so you could see it in theaters. Um, I like people keep saying Dune needs to be seen in a theater. I haven't watched it yet, and people keep telling me how boring it is. So I'm like torn, but
Very, to me, it was boring.
yeah, right.
Whatever.
I
But
know it's like one of those things. It's like, well, you should see it in theaters because it's so pretty, but then it's like, are you gonna fall asleep? I have a hard time if I'm going to see a movie in a theater. I want to make sure it's a theatrical experience, not just it's a theatrical experience for the film, but that you can't see it anywhere else. Like
right.
if I can just click on it at home, why am I going to go see it? Now, I will say Matrix will probably be
Yeah.
my exemption because my Keanu love the Keanu. But the Matrix series is one of my favorite series. I've seen all of them in the theaters, even re-releases or
But
whatever
I
it may
mean,
have been.
even the
But
Marvel ones, there's very few, like, yes, it's a great film experience in theaters, but you can also enjoy it greatly at home. I don't
mhm,
know that some of the Marvel ones, okay, some of them I obviously, well, all of them I obviously see in theaters, but like in this past year, how many movies can you think of that you've watched at home that you go, oh, this would have been better in theaters?
none.
There's only
And
one for me.
I saw Black Widow in theaters
Hmm.
because a friend of mine wanted to go, and AMC was very kind because she was more freaked out about COVID, and there was people. We checked the seats, and people were a little too close, and they switched us around so that they blocked all the seats around us, so no one
Nice.
could actually buy them. I thought it was really nice of them.
Very
Um,
accommodating. That's nice. Yes.
very accommodating, and I give them props for that because it was great. Because then it was we were both. She still wore her mask. I was chopping my popcorn like a wildebeest at the
Right.
trough, so it doesn't really matter.
You can
Um,
just fill the mask with popcorn. Just fill it in and then just munch it through the mask.
nothing's getting in there when I'm eating popcorn because it's just a constant flow
Just flow
right
it
down the
in.
gullet.
Right.
between soda and popcorn, it's like, no, that's dinner and lunch, and
Usually.
calories for 2 weeks. But the film notwithstanding being mediocre, uh, I didn't really feel like I had to see it in the theaters. I could have just watched it at home, and I was
Right.
fine with it.
The only one,
Um,
and I mean, for me, like the effects wise and all that, whatever. And it's probably going to win awards for something or another. But Godzilla versus Kong, there were
oh yeah,
some effects in that that I could see would be better in a theater.
yeah. I mean, I thought the movie was stupid as hell,
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely. No disagreement there.
like,
But
wow, did they even try to make logic work? No. But I get your point.
the
It
monster
was still,
movie,
when it ended, I still was like, yeah, all right, whatever. It was
yeah,
fun. People got beat up.
it's a
I was okay
monster
with it.
movie. They're all kind of, but that one,
I
like,
kept going, why was Kyle Chandler in this movie? Was
right,
he like obligated contractually
probably.
because he was in two scenes and he was like, his daughter is just running around with Godzilla and King Kong, and he's like, cool. I'm like, no,
Right.
no.
Not even worried about his kid, just whatever. But
Yeah, peace
when
out,
they're
kid.
fighting and the monsters roar or whatever, you could
The
see, especially,
sound, and
right.
yeah.
So
And
that's,
there's something, the theatrical experience is really fun because it makes you focus on the movie. God willing, people aren't around you on their phones.
oh my God, they were doing
And
that
it
last
makes
night
you,
in the screening. And I was like, this is like a way early screening. It doesn't come out till the beginning of December. And
yeah,
both sides of me, and there was a kid with headphones and playing on a phone next to me. And I was like,
I would have lost it.
what is going on?
Then don't be here. Like,
Right.
go outside or go stay home.
Well, and actually, and this one was because other than myself and a couple other press members, they were the family members of children that were actually in the movie.
Mm,
So that would make me think they'd want to pay attention more.
yeah, think. I mean,
But
I would, if I was a parent, I would be like, put the phone away.
yeah, they handed it to the
I'm
kid. So
Yeah, I would have murdered that child, but that's just me.
when I just go,
You know.
okay, don't look that way with the light blaring in my eyes and that way. And the movie's in black and white, so it's also very high contrast. So
Oh God,
second one this week, because Belfast is black and white, except
it
for
is.
a couple things. Yeah.
I'm actually interested to see it. I don't know how depressing it will be.
It,
Um, did you see it already?
yeah,
Was it good?
I didn't hate it.
Oh, great! It's like a 12%.
No, it's not. It's a decent story, but it just like, when I came out and they always take a little blurb from us afterwards. It just seemed like it was a story to not really have a destination.
Hmm.
So, and it had like they played with light and color and stuff. So that was kind of neat, but it was just kind of it's definitely a movie for you. It is definitely a pocket of time.
Yeah,
So that is the type of thing you like. So
I
you
do like
probably
those.
will
I
love
can't
it.
deny.
So yeah, so that one, and then come on, all black and white.
Hmm.
So, and then you said you won't see that one because, like I said, it's emotional and raw. So
Exactly. Speaking of emotional and raw,
yes,
we
sir.
need to
Let's
go to
talk
my choice.
your movie.
And my choice of this week, which I mean, we've really gotten off topic a lot, but that's okay. My choice of this week
What's new?
for my feel good film is Legally Blonde,
Uh-huh.
starring Miss Reese Witherspoon in the career making, defining role of her life. That she will never have a role that will be better. No one can ever convince me differently.
Now, this was 2001. Okay.
Mhm.
Checking to see when did the other movie I love her in come out?
She had a string of romantic comedies there for a while. She had Legally Blonde, the Just Like Heaven, Sweet Home Alabama.
I love
There's a
that
lot
one.
that I enjoyed her in. You know what I mean? She did a really good chunk of those films that are very similar in that feel good fun. Sweet Home Alabama is awesome. I think it's a great
Yeah,
movie.
it's
It's adorable. You know,
absolutely.
even
Now,
Just Like Heaven, it's not great, but it's still fun. It's like a B.
It's definitely a fluffy movie.
Yeah, that's not like Legally Blonde is okay. So funny. Here's a funny story. I was at Comic-Con with my friend Billy, and he's like, like, oh, I'm Billy, and I
Is
was
that what
like,
Billy sounds like? Because he didn't sound like that when I met him. But yeah.
yeah, that's not what he sounds like. He's like, oh, I'm Billy. How are you? I'm Billy. I'm like, yeah, we know your name, Billy. So I was dead that day because we were up. I mean, this was like the Saturday of Comic-Con, and the Saturday of Comic-Con, you go out, generally speaking, if you're a normal human. But we had to be up early to get the line drawings for the tickets, and Billy didn't get anything. I ended up that day. My friend Alicia was helping with some of the autograph signings,
Mhm.
and she got thrown into a wall. So I had to pull her off of the wall and save her from the massive crowds of people just running everywhere. So
Oh my
Billy and my other friend Russell, they left me and they ditched me, and they got in the line earlier. And I just said, "Screw it, I'm going to stay in the end. I'm not." It was the year of Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman and a bunch of others. People were like
2018?
freaking out for that, and we were first in line to get into the convention center,
Yeah.
and it just people poured in from other areas, and it was a horrible, horrible thing. So by the time we got up there, Suicide Squad was gone, which was the big movie before it came out. People thought it sucked. And then Wonder
Before
Woman in
people
this
knew.
one
Uh-huh.
before people knew. And so we were up there, in line. They all got through. Billy drew and didn't get it. I was, so I told Alicia, I'm like, just go home. She had scraped up some little blood splatters. And I'm like, well, just go draw for Supergirl, because I love Supergirl. And you
Right.
can go home, get the, and so she got the wristband for that. So I was in line. I was shooting the shit with the DC guy, and he felt so bad that he ended up giving me an extra wristband for Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman.
Oh no.
So it was really nice of him. And of course, Billy's like, well, you could give me one. I said no.
No.
And
You left me. You left me in the
right,
dust.
Billy, you left me in the dust. Oh, I'm Billy. Oh, I'm gonna go draw. And I was like,
Okay,
screw
so we
off,
need to make
Billy.
sure that Billy listens to this episode, by the way.
I tell him this all the time. I was just insulting him the other day. So, and then I ended up getting the signing for Ash versus the Evil Dead, and there was something.
Mhm.
I mean, like it was a lot. Like it was back to back to back to back to back. By the time I was done with the day, didn't eat, I didn't drink anything. I was dehydrated, and my friend Mike saw me in line for Ash versus the Evil Dead, which was outside in the blazing heat, which was great because it was a full cast. I loved that show. And he goes, dude, are you gonna die? And I go, yes. If I don't make it through this signing, I'm gonna die. And it was, I got the poster because of course I had to get the poster. I think I got like something else cool too that day. And so I was walking from, there's like a little parking lot over the bridge to the Hilton where I was staying. And literally I had to go, okay, just make it to the steps.
Oh no.
Just make it up the steps. Just make it halfway to the bridge. Just make it over the bridge. Okay, you're almost at the Hilton. Get to the Hilton. Now you're at the Hilton. Just get to the elevator. Now you're in the elevator. Get up the elevator and get into the room. So I got into the room, and it was that bad. Like I was dying. And we had about a case of water, and I pounded half the case of water. That's how bad it was. And then this
No,
little voice in the, yeah,
just not
and
good,
then
Michael.
it's not good. And then and I a voice in my head said, "Get your posters out of the tube you were carrying because it wasn't super sturdy. Put them in your big your protected PVC tube." And I said, "Okay, self." I'm talking to myself like I'm another human. Like it was like two different humans peeled
Right.
away. So I put them in, and I laid down in the bed, and the bed felt like it was enveloping me, and I sweated like it was just like the whole bed was soaked. It was disgusting. Thank God I was sleeping by myself that night.
Well, you
And then go,
overtaxed your system, dude.
mm-hmm. So Billy starts knocking at the door. I'm like, I'm not getting up. So I crawled out of bed. Billy's like, "Oh, I'm Billy," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know you're Billy." He's like, "I'm gonna die. I can't go home." And I go, "Well, sleep on the floor then." So I actually offered him to stay in the bed. He's like, "Oh, just stay on the floor." So he lays on the floor, and I'm like, He's like, "Are we gonna eat?" And I go, "I guess I need food." So we ordered room service. I got a club
It's
sandwich,
ridiculous, but yeah.
whatever. And so I started to feel better, and we were clicking the TV, and Legally Blonde was on, and I was like, oh, Legally Blonde, and we ended up watching Legally Blonde. That's our memory of Comic-Con is eating club sandwiches and watching Legally Blonde when everyone's out partying. and because we were exhausted and dead.
But if you go to any convention or like if you do any press junket and they have you go, like when I stayed with you, I was crashing so hard every night because I had 4 days of going nonstop and no real food, because that's another issue. But that wasn't on me. That was the planner's problem. You know, your body gets to a point, you just need that break. So
yeah, my body shut down. And so it's one of my favorite memories. I mean, Legally Blonde is one of those movies I quote all the time. When I dress up like a frigid bitch, I try not to act so constipated.
Right.
They're one of the best
effing
lines.
And you know, and what
there's so many.
Their dynamic in this movie versus their dynamic in Cruel Intentions. You know, I'm like, so this isn't their first time working together, and they're probably just like, all right, let's play. So, you know.
Yeah, and Selma Blair was also really great as the bitch. Like the one moment where she's like, we're
he really was.
Reese
That was
Witherspoon.
shocking.
Yeah, and she's in class, and Reese Witherspoon's like, oh, and Helen Taylor's like, do you support Vivian? Do you support me asking Elle to leave? And she's like, yes, I do. And she does a little turn back. I was like, ooh, Sal. I was like, I loved it. And she was like, oh, it was so great.
But I mean,
it was just so fun.
The thing that always makes me laugh now is like when she's going to buy the computer and you go and see the MacBook or whatever. Were they even MacBooks at the time? But the Mac laptop at the time, and that just the technology, that big gaudy ass stuff. And I'm like, man,
it was orange.
I know it. Too bad they couldn't get her pink. But
that's what I said. I go, because she made a joke about orange, how she talked Cameron Diaz out of buying that truly heinous orange sweater.
Right.
And then she bought the orange laptop. I'm like,
But it was the only one available with color, other than blue or gray or whatever. So I get it, but they could have at least done like an Elle Woods pink for that scene.
That's what I said. You know.
No, they probably were afraid to, because they would have had all of the girls going, oh my God, where's my pink one? I want the pink one just like in the movie. But that could have been a great marketing thing. And they could have went with it and had.
If they did it now, they probably would have.
Well, no, now it's all the rose gold and the blush pink and the.
Right. Yeah, blah. But you know, this movie is one of those movies. It ends so fun. You know, even the song by Hoku, I think it's Hoku. Sun's up a little after 10. I mean, it ends in that right moment. You just feel good. It ends with such a powerful, fun moment, and you just can't help but smile.
Well, and it makes me laugh too, because she gets into Harvard and everybody's like, but her degree's in fashion. A lot of people don't realize, like, you don't need a base in legal or anything to go to law school. You just have to have a bachelor's and pass the test. That's it.
Yeah.
It could be a degree in polka dots. Nobody freaking cares, as long as you're smart enough to get in. So
and it was great. I mean, and the point where she's looking at the wall and they're like, oh, look, Vivian got it, and then Matt Davis got it, and then that leaves one spot for, and she turns to me. It's like, she just nailed that role.
Right. So, and it's just like the perky side of her came out. The only thing I will say, the second, like the sequel, not my favorite.
Don't talk about it.
It's not my favorite. It's like Grease 2.
Okay.
Not my favorite. So.
Okay, don't be dissing on my Grease 2.
Compared to the original.
It's better.
Agree to disagree.
You want to know? Do you really want to know what I want in a guy? I want a devil in a mean machine with hell in his eyes.
Anyway.
Devil in skin tight leather. It's gonna be one of the rings.
Oh, definitely.
Night. I want to ride. I want a cool rider. A cool rider.
So obviously, this whole episode is not stayed on track at all.
We are not on track. I'm busting out Cool Rider and FIC season, but that's part of it. It is fun. These are fun movies, they're movies that are good to lighten the mood. I think that's really kind of fun, kind of neat. I will say Legally Blonde 2 is not my favorite. It was like a B- at best.
Yeah,
I've seen it many times. I still like the character, and it was still great that they brought Alana Yu back and her other friend back, and though they were fun. Jennifer Coolidge is awesome.
I
No,
love her in this role.
The whole movie is made, the Legally Blonde 2, by her saying, "You look like the 4th of July. I want a hot dog
Dog, so
real bad."
bad. Yes.
Brilliant.
So
And that
yes,
makes the movie, that's the movie scene. Everyone quotes it because
right.
it's so good. They forget how shitty the movie is.
Right.
And that movie has 4 Oscar winners in
Well,
that
okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Octavia Spencer, she was a security guard at the Gucci plant. Reese Witherspoon, Regina King, and Sally Field.
Right. But it's still just a
Uh-huh.
B-ish movie. I mean, it's okay,
B
and it's not.
minus. It's B
But it's
minus.
not the one that I would put on to watch all the time. Like if I got a choice
No.
between watching Legally Blonde and Legally Blonde 2,
Right.
it's kind of like the Miss Congeniality movies. I'll watch the first
Mm-hmm.
one, the second one, okay. You know.
And the second one has Regina King, and maybe it's Regina King. That's the problem.
Oh, let's not say that. I like her. So
I like her too. She's been very nice to me, but I'm like,
yeah,
she did Legally Blonde 2 and Miss Congeniality 2, and they were both not good.
but that could just they were trying to push out sequels too fast without a
Yeah,
decent.
the writing, I see what they were trying to do with Legally Blonde 2.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not, and Miss Congeniality 2. It's funny. Okay, it's Miss Congeniality 2. I'm leaning in as if I'm telling you a secret.
Leaning
I
into
was
the computer
talking
screen.
to I was talking to the guy who played the gay, I forgot his name, from American Housewife. Oh my god, he's in everything. Dietrich Bader.
Okay.
I was talking to him at the American Housewife event. I go, because we went bowling with the cast of American Housewife, and we were just, we were just shooting the shit. And I was like, I gotta tell you, one of my favorite guilty pleasures is Legally Blonde 2. And he goes, "That's not winning any GLAAD awards, is it?"
No, most likely not.
Most likely not.
But
And it's funny
it's
because Michael Caine wouldn't come back for that role.
right.
And so it's like, well, they had to just substitute another gay guy in there. I mean, did they already have it written thinking that it would be Michael Caine? And then
They just
because
subbed someone
Michael Caine did Jaws the Revenge. How bad does this have to be for him to be like, no, I
in.
can't do
Right.
this? He
And
did
because
Company Business. He did the shit. If you look at his filmography,
he has some
he was
crappy movies.
doing anything that was passed on to him.
Right. But I mean,
And,
it could be just the over the top nature. And he's just like, no, not going to do it again. That's played out, because as we know, gay men in Hollywood, or at least in the movies, compared to reality, that's a very
are
small
totally
percentage.
different. I know.
Very small percentage of that super flamboyant, whatever. But the movies, that's in a gay person out there.
Right. It's kind of funny.
So,
Because the movies are always the extreme versions of every kind of character. I mean, that just makes it work,
it is. But
here we are. Our movies have our discussion today has gone so off track. I don't even know how we stayed in the same universe, but
we did it.
yeah, we
Magically.
didn't. I told stories about Billy, and I think every week should be a new Billy story. Do you want to hear another Billy story? I was literally making fun of him today.
To him?
I mean, as I do every day. Oh yeah. We're in a group thread with 2 of my other friends, my friend Russell and Scotty, and we're talking about something. I sent over the Palm Springs because they announced Kristen Stewart was getting the Palm Springs award. And Billy was like, "Oh, so she can yell at me again?" I'm like, "Oh, it's the greatest story ever." So great.
And
We were in a
yet you're
Q&A
still
for On the
friends
Road.
with him. You're still friends with him.
I
Despite
love Billy. It's one of those things, like if you don't bust somebody's balls, what are you there for? We were there, and Billy, he's hobbling over. It's a Q&A for On the Road, and he hobbled over like a sloth. And I went up to her and she signed a magazine for me, and really easy, super nice. And thank you. Billy comes up with this Twilight poster, and she's like, "Oh, this is for you. Is this for you? What are you going to do with this?" And starts yelling at him. And he's like, "You're the last one I need." And she's like, "Oh, you need me on Twilight? What are you going to do with this? You're going to," and started just going off. And I'm just sitting back going, I love life. I love every minute
Because he could have
Loved
easily
it.
said, he could have taken the moment, stepped back and said, this is for my sister who loved the series.
Yeah.
De-escalate everything right there. No.
Right. No, not Billy. Oh, I need you on it. Oh, dude, it was amazing. There's so many stories. Oh my God. There was the I shouldn't tell the other two because it makes him sound even stupider. But
He's a nice guy. He's a
I
really
love Billy.
guy.
I just invited him to Thanksgiving. He's awesome. He's a really great guy. He's big in Canada, he says. Um,
What?
can't even make this shit up. Oh, I love life. Okay, I don't know how I get started. There's literally this conversation went from movies we love to FYC season to Legally Blonde to ripping on Billy, which is my normal routine, I guess. This is probably every day. There was he's so dumb. He's so dumb.
But we all have those
I
friends.
have videos.
And we
I literally said my text today. In my text today, I said, when I die, I'm gonna relive the Kristen Stewart moment at the Q&A for at least a month. And I go, there's a couple more. And I said, I'm just gonna use that as eternity. Just going back to those moments and watching you make a fool of yourself because it's really fun for me.
Oh my God, Mike, you're being an ass.
Of course I am. I'm an ass. I know that. Everyone knows that.
This is true.
But there was a point. We're at the SAG Awards. And I'm not going to tell you the one story because it's just, I can't tell you the story. I wrote it down. I make fun of him all the time. I should make it into a gift. But so we're sitting there and Billy thinks he sees Edie Falco.
Okay.
It's not Edie Falco. It's Amy Aquino, who's in Bosch and she was in Brooklyn Bridge and character actress. And she's also one of the members of SAG on the board. And he's like, Edie. Well, Edie, when you scream it at the top of your lungs, sounds like Amy.
So
and
she
I'm like,
turns.
oh yeah. And I'm like, Billy, that's not her. That's not Edie Falco. Billy. And Billy can't, he's in his zone. Like he thinks Edie Falco is coming over. And I'm like, that's Amy Aquino, Billy. That's Amy Aquino, Billy. It's Amy Aquino, Billy. Not even, he doesn't even remember me saying it. And I'm saying it over and over and over. So what happens? Amy Aquino starts coming over, surrounded by press.
Oh no.
Photographers and everything. And I have the whole thing. I'm taking pictures of her trying to sign and going, wait, that's not me. Da, 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 da. And Billy's like, no, that's you. That's you. And she goes, that's Edie Falco. And I go, Billy, it's Amy Aquino.
Oh, bless.
And he's like, oh, I'm Billy.
He does not say that.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, you're so mean.
Oh, stories.
Oh, bless.
Every week is going to be a new Billy story.
Do you have enough to entertain and every episode with a Billy story?
Jesus, do I have stories?
No, but is Billy ever going to listen?
Billy doesn't know how to click on something online, let alone listen to a podcast.
Fair. All right. Goodness. All right. So
sorry, I was totally digressing there.
Covered our feel good.
When I can insult Billy, that's a feel good movie. I should write that into a movie. Insult Billy. That should just be the title.
Turn all of his stories into like a short form thing.
Figure something out. Like maybe he's the last one standing because, in a horror movie, because, the killer's coming and he's like, hey, what's up?
Just so oblivious.
Mm-hmm. He's walking past Michael with the machete and he's like, oh, I got to tie my shoe,
Or, oops, you dropped this, hands him the knife and keeps going.
Right.
All right. So on that note.
Well, so next week,
Yes,
do you have a subject for next week or should I have a subject for next week? Because I do have one if you don't.
If you have one, go ahead.
Okay, so I was thinking about doing, and next week you can plan something. I always pick them, and I kind of sort of feel bad. And I don't, though. No, I don't.
No, you
but
don't.
I'll give you the opportunity. So I'm thinking of doing 90s cult classics that we feel are cult classics that maybe the world hasn't seen.
Oh shit.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna say this is a cult classic because it is to me, and it really should be. And it is and I believe it's 1990. I'm gonna double check. Oh my
That's
God.
the thing.
Well,
Okay.
it's a whole decade. I mean,
I know. Well, and I just typed in 90s cult classics because I'm
yeah.
like, let's see which of
So
these.
I'm picking, and this doesn't have to be like what people think are cult classics. It's a cult classic to you, or a film that you love from that era that isn't necessarily like the mainstream popular. I'm gonna pick the 1991 comedy Soap Dish.
What the hell is that?
It stars again Sally Field from Legally Blonde 2. It's honestly one of the best comedies. It's so funny if you get into it. It's a stellar cast. It's Sally Field, Whoopi Goldberg, Kathy Moriarty, Robert Downey Jr., Elizabeth Shue, Kevin Kline, Terry Hatcher. Kathy Najimy is also in it in a small role. It's really, really funny. And it's about a soap opera, like behind the scenes of a soap opera and all the shenanigans that go on.
Huh.
Super funny. It's I happen to own one of the props from the movie actually.
Of course you do.
But I'm like, and I have a cast sign poster as well. But
Well, and I'm going through the popular cult movies from the 90s, and there's some of them that I absolutely love. And then one of them, it's made me stop and pause and go, that was the 90s? Fight Club was 99.
yeah,
Wow. Shit.
and that's not really a cult. I wouldn't say it's a cult movie. That's more of a mainstream popular movie because
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Let's see.
Fight Club is an amazing film. I mean that
Oh,
can be
absolutely
dissected forever.
is. I'm trying to see. I mean, and it lists like Sandlot and Hocus Pocus and Blues Brothers 2000.
No, that's awful.
I know. That's why I'm like, hmm.
I mean, Sandlot's amazing, but I don't know if I consider that a cult movie either because that was such a people found that really. I mean, like, look at how many shirts are out there. Someone
Still
else's
to
body.
this day, or socks that show up for your birthday.
Yeah.
Um, huh. Yeah, next year I'm choosing, and I'm gonna come, or next week I'm choosing.
Next year, I'm a choosing.
I mean, next year really isn't that far away. We're like 50 days
true.
from Christmas, which is scary as hell.
It really is. I'm Billy. Next year, I'll choose something. Such math.
So this one is definitely a cult classic one, and one that is mainstream sort of now and popular. We're gonna watch Mallrats.
Oh yeah, was that in the 90s?
Let me see, 95. And it's
95.
on
Wow, that seems later.
So yeah, that's the
I
same
haven't
thing.
seen that one in a long time. I really Kevin Smith and I have a love-hate relationship. I liked Clerks. I loved Chasing Amy. I liked Mallrats when it first came out, and I watched it again. I was like, wow, Jason London. Is it Jeremy London or Jason London in that? I can't remember because I keep the London
That's a
mixed
good
up.
question.
But he was so terrible in the
Jeremy.
lead. But it's Jeremy, yeah, because Jason was in Dazed. And he's a way better actor. Jeremy was but Shannon Doherty, always awesome in that. And Ben
And it's
Affleck
funny
playing
that I
the
would
asshole
choose that
again.
because I hate Ben Affleck. However,
With a fiery passion, you hate Ben
I
Affleck.
do, but in this role, he kind of gets what's coming to him too. So,
Yeah,
So, all right. So, Mallrats and Soap Dish.
two completely wildly divergent films, but I think it's going to be fun. I mean, I like, it's kind of nice to do some comedies here too.
Yeah. So, all right.
I'm curious to see what you think about Soap Dish.
No, okay. So, I want to say this ahead of time. Being a kid from the 80s and 90s, watching soap operas with our grandparents. Is this one that's going to be something I can understand and relate to?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I never watched soap operas at all, and I thought it was hilarious.
My grandmother, we would always watch The Price is Right, and then Not All My Children, One Life to Live. And that's what it was. And when I was in undergrad, doing art projects, I would put on the TV, and the only thing on in the middle of the day when I was home between classes and when I was working midnights was All My Children. So I watched that for design school because I mean it's mindless. It's something that can just play. It's not,
yeah,
and if somebody dies, they're coming back anyhow. So what the fuck?
right. Well, this is fun. They really skewer that, and they skewer the whole soap opera
Okay, good.
thing.
Whole genre.
Yeah, it's fun, but if you don't watch soap operas, you don't need it. It's not really about that, but
Okay,
it's
good.
really it's a well done film. It was really unfortunate it didn't get as much love when it came out. 'Cause I thought it was really a well done comedy.
See, and I've never heard of it. Granted, when it came out, I was definitely not the market for it.
I wasn't born yet, so
I know, it's amazing how that happens.
yeah. Well, I keep regressing in age, so that really helps.
Yeah, delusional. It's all good.
It's because of collagen. If you take collagen, you just start getting younger in age.
I thought it was that bog water or whatever.
Oh, dude, my face cream, my bog face cream is discontinued. I don't know what to do in my last jar. I'm really just it's a really tragic thing. I don't know if I can continue.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I don't know. You're gonna have to find another formula.
I don't know if I can. I feel like I should just reach for the glass of bleach now and just call it a day.
Oh, you poor dear. So,
I know life is hard.
all right. So on that note, we will be back next week discussing soap dish and mall rats, and Mike will hopefully have found new face cream. So
I don't know if that'll happen.
we will see. All right. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.